Hey, everybody, I want to welcome you to the show tonight, and I hope everybody is doing well. Greetings to all who are coming on right now. So, tonight's show, we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about mainstream Freemasonry, we're going to talk about European Masonry, we're going to talk about that thing I call Negro Masonry. Not just black Masonry, but Negro Masonry. And I say that for a particular reason when I say Negro Masonry. It is not to be disrespectful to anyone, but there's a particular reason I say that, and we're going to get into that later on tonight. But right now, we're going to get right into our conversation for the evening. And like I said, I want to definitely welcome everybody that's coming on tonight. I'm learning how to get more technical suave as I get into this YouTube thing. It's interesting. I'm learning it though. I'm learning. So we're gonna get right into this. So this thing that we call mainstream Freemasonry. This thing we call mainstream Freemasonry. So it's a funny thing because mainstream Freemasonry, state grand lodges, they set the tone as far as Freemasonry is concerned in the United States. They set the tone. This is why it is called mainstream Freemasonry. Once again, mainstream Freemasonry in the United States, I'm talking about predominantly white grand lodges. They set the tone of Freemasonry in the United States. The ideal and attitude or activity which regards the norm of Freemasonry is set by mainstream Freemasonry. That's it. They set the tone, everybody else follows. If you want to be on their team, you got to follow how they set the tone. Here are the rules and regulations to this game. And if you want to play by these rules and regulations to this game, here's what you got to do. They set the tone. Once again, mainstream Grand Lodge in the United States sets the tone for Freemasonry. Nobody else does that unless you're going to be outside the box. Period. And when I say outside the box, I'm clearly saying unless you're willing to follow their rules, their regulations, it's going to be outside the box. Period. Now, when you are ready to follow their rules, their regulations, then you're more acceptable. It's easy going. It's more like, yeah, okay, good. Now we can have this conversation about recognitions and about everything else, about visitation, the whole thing. Okay. It's based on membership. If your lodge doesn't have, if your Grand Lodge don't have a certain amount of membership, as far as the numbers are concerned, the Grand Lodge estates don't really want to talk to you. These are true factors. I'm not talking about what somebody has whispered in my ear. I'm talking about what I actually know. And if you ever want to find out something, why don't you just talk to a mainstream Freemasonry? Have lunch with him, and he'll tell you. Some of the reasons why they don't recognize other black Grand Lodges. Simply because you don't have the numbers. Okay? You don't have the numbers, you don't have the money, so they don't want to mess with you. This is truth. It's not about lineage. I know the argument a lot of times is your lineage. There was only one lodge that actually received a charter, and that was lodge number 459. Okay? That's it. It was a lodge. And in no Grand Lodge, it was a lodge, and that lodge then issued a copy of their charter to another lodge. See, a lodge can't charter a lodge. They can't. So the argument that we often get a lot of time is about lineage. Your lineage. Well, you know what? That's that whole topic is really blown out of perspective. Because if you want to holler lineage, well, where did the Grand Lodge of England, the Grand Lodge of Scotland, and those Grand Lodges, who gave them that right? Where did their lineage come from? See, if you're going to really get down, I'm not being technical, I'm just being factual. And there's a difference. So when we look at mainstream Freemasonry here in the United States, they set the tone. You can say whatever you want to say. I don't care what Grand Lodge you're in. If you're going to play on a team mainstream, you're going to have to follow the rules. And it's their rules. Greetings, everybody that's coming up. Tonight's topic, once again, is about mainstream Freemasonry, European style Freemasonry, and Negro Freemasonry. Like I said before, this is no disrespect to black Freemasons, but I'm going to put that in perspective in just a few minutes as we begin to subjugate on mainstream Freemasonry and how it actually pushes Freemasonry here in the United States. And they do. They push Freemasonry here in the United States. Because if they didn't, my brothers who are Prince Hall Grand Lodge wouldn't seek their recognition if they did not push Freemasonry in the United States. Plain and simple. It is just the truth. If mainstream Freemasons don't push and don't run Masonry in the United States, PHA would not have been really seeking their seeking recognition from them, because PHA is regular. It is its own jurisdiction. It is its own entity. It's its own entity. So why would another entity need another entity to verify who they are? You don't. You exist. You exist without them even saying anything to you. They ain't got to speak to you not one day. You still exist. And that's the beauty about Freemasonry. There's no one central Grand Lodge that runs everything. But mainstream Grand Lodge in the United States, they run shit. Let's just be honest. Don't even trip. They do. Okay? They run Masonry in the United States. There was a magazine called On Time. And you can look this up for yourself. There's a Time magazine, I want to say in the 60s or either in the 70s, when they put on their front cover, the Grand Lodges of State. They put up the 50 Grand Masters of the United States mainstream Grand Lodges. They didn't have no ancient free and accepted Masons. As far as John G. Jones, no modern free, no international, no Prince Hall. Okay? So and that's the thing we have to deal with. I don't care who you are. That's what we have to deal with. If you want to play by their rules, you gotta accommodate. You have to accommodate. They're not gonna necessarily accommodate you. You're gonna accommodate them because they are the it factor. Plain and simple. They're the it factor. If you're looking to have recognition and visitation, you're gonna have to make some changes. And I don't care what jurisdiction as far as Prince Hall is concerned, I guarantee you this. When the committees on recognition met and began to set this formal visitation thing into order, I know for a fact there were some things that was requested of Prince Hall Grand Lodges in order for this to happen. And nothing more than likely was requested of mainstream Grand Lodges. If you think I'm lying, go talk to your Grand Master State and find out for yourself who was around at the time that these things took place. Talk to the original committee. Don't talk to somebody who sits on the committee right now. I'm talking about people who actually put the paperwork in place. You need to have a conversation with them. Because in order for that recognition to have happened between the various state Grand Lodges and Prince Hall Grand Lodges had to make some changes. And there was only one change that mainstream made, and their change was to their constitution. The change that they made was clearly saying that they would recognize another Grand Lodge of State, and that Grand Lodge would be Prince Hall, period. Everything else was formality. See, when you run with mainstream Grand Lodges, their push, their pull is different than your push or your pull. It is. That's the difference. Their push and pull is different. Their money is different. Okay? It's just the nature of the beast. Their money is different. They push, they pull, what they can get done, how they get it done, their structure. It's more elaborate, it's more detailed, it is. I've seen it for myself. And their constitution is like a book. Their constitution is thick like a book, okay? All right, their constitution is like that. But when it comes to most of our constitutions, it's like this. You know, our constitutions, You know, when I say our, I'm talking about Prince Hall. I'm talking about Modern Free International. Your constitutions are like this. You don't have that thick, gigantic book that breaks down everything. I guarantee you, most of your constitutions for your Grand Lodges are probably less than 100 pages, whereas the constitution for most mainstream Grand Lodges are over 200 pages. And if it's less than that, I'll be shocked. But I guarantee you, it's more, is close to 200, 300 pages. Period. That's just how they do things, and the way they're structured is different. See, they're built. They do everything on a foundation basis. When I say foundation, not the foundation of their Grand Lodge, but a foundation as far as money is concerned. Okay, they have foundations, and I don't know too many Prince Hall Grand Lodges that have foundations. See, most of their Grand Lodges are not owned by the lodge. Most of their Grand Lodges are owned. It's under the structure of a foundation. Okay, so that nonprofit status is huge. That nonprofit status for state Grand Lodges is huge. Unlike most black Grand Lodges, period. It is, and I would encourage you to look this up and to do for yourself, and then we can have the conversation. I always say that, you know, because I don't want people or individuals coming back. No, bro, you gave me the wrong information. No, go and find out for yourself, and then we can talk, and maybe you found something that I didn't find. But to sit here and say that I'm completely wrong or you're completely right, that's not how it's done. You know, people like to put it that way, but that's not necessarily how it's done. So clearly, mainstream Grand Lodge is the it factor. Let's not even do that to ourselves. It's the it factor. So let's see what you got up here tonight. What happened to the email, Brother Jones? Oh, man. Oh, you're killing me. I got a lot on my plate, bro. And if I promise you an email on something, I don't know. I don't have an excuse. I just haven't done it. It hadn't crossed my mind, to be clearly honest with you. And I'm trying to even figure out the email, if I was supposed to email you something. If you have my phone number, please text me, and I need reminders when I say I'm going to do something for you. I really do. And this is my apology. So definitely welcome aboard everybody who's coming on. Tonight's conversation is dealing with mainstream Grand Lodges tonight, along with mainstream European Grand Lodges and Negro Masonry. And so here we are talking about mainstream Grand Lodges and the differences in how they're structured, how they are set up, you know. So yes, the lodges, let's talk about how the lodges are set up and established. Yeah, the lodges are the same. They are. Pretty much so. They are. They're the same. And I would say that mainstream Grand Lodges have some of the most beautiful Grand Lodges that I've been in. Clean. You don't have to set nothing up. Everything is in its place. It is. I've only been to a few African American Grand Lodges that has that same structure. Only a few. Okay. And they do. And there are some lodges, not just on the Grand Lodge scale, but there are lodges, black lodges, that are beautiful too. I'm just saying, when you talking about on the scale set, on that scale set, the Grand Lodges of State is just far and beyond a lot of the black Grand Lodges of various jurisdictions, including Prince Hall. And they are. It's because of how they're structured, their monies and grants, and how they're able to obtain grants, how they're able to push through things and get things done within their jurisdictions. It's like that. And if you don't think so, you're sadly mistaken. These Grand Lodges of State are some powerful entities. You can say whatever you want to say, you know. Now they're probably not as powerful as they once were, but yet, brother, they make things happen for their jurisdiction, for their youth. They make it happen. They have grants established. They have money set aside over here. When their members pass away, they have what you call there's a word I'm looking for, and I can't think of it. When you pass away, you leave grants, or you leave some money in your name for your lodge. I can't even think of the name of it. Well, anyway, it's called old money for one thing, and they do. That's how they get down. You know, they have individuals and members that is able to push, that is able to get work done, and it's top notch. It is. And I'm not going to say that they don't have their issues now. Let's just be honest. Every jurisdiction has their issues, and so do state grand lodges or mainstream grand lodges. They have their issues with membership. They have their issues with money, you know, just on a bigger scale. That's all, just on a bigger scale. But that's how they get down. And to be a part of them is hey, it is what it is. If that's what a brother or sister choose to go and do, is to become a part of mainstream Eastern Star or mainstream Grand Lodges, more power to you. You know, more power to you. I will not knock that. I will not tell you not to go. I will no. You know, I'm not that guy. You know, I'm that guy that says wherever you go, just be respected where you go. You know, don't be tolerated, be celebrated. That's me. All right. So if you got any questions on mainstream Grand Lodges, let's hear it. I know some of the brothers in here that are a part of mainstream Grand Lodges. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, you can ask them. Or even better yet, they may want to call in. And the number tonight to call in, shucks. Excuse me. Man, I'll be more prepared next time. But anyway, the number to call in tonight is the same number, 619-286-0642. We get right on it. So if you want to call in, if you're part of a mainstream jurisdiction, and if I've said something that is incorrect, give me a call. And if I've said something that is correct and you want to elaborate on it, give me a call, 619-286-0642. I certainly would appreciate it. The phone line is now open. All right, so with that being said, we're going to talk about also how mainstream Grand Lodges elect their Grand Master. It may shock you how they do it. And like I said, if I said something wrong or giving out incorrect information, if you are part of a mainstream Grand Lodge and you know different and I misquoted something, please give me a call. 619-286-0642 is the call-in number tonight. So now, also, mainstream Grand Lodges, their Grand Masters are elected a little bit differently than what we would probably perceive or think about. And that in itself says a lot. So before I go into that, I just want to say greetings to Brother King, Brother Cook, Adams. Who else is that here tonight? Brother Curtis. All right, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Brother Terrell, thank you for tuning in. All right, boy, Terrell, boy, I get y'all mixed up. I'm not going to even lie. Brother Morgan and Goldsberry, I get y'all mixed up. I'm not gonna even kid you. I'm not gonna lie, I do, and I think you guys know I do. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you very much for definitely tuning into the show tonight. Everybody that's on, thank you very much. So we're gonna get right into it. Beneficiary, thank you. That's what I was looking for. Thank you, Beneficiary Phil Jackson. I appreciate that. That's what we call it. Okay. All right. I appreciate it. So the beneficiary, you know, they leave money over to the lodge and it's in a nice sum. And what happens is that money gets distributed within that lodge, and the Grand Lodge gets a little taste too. If I'm wrong, somebody needs to tell me that's not the way it's done, and we can have the conversation. I don't want to give out misinformation. And this is how they get down. A lot of us who are, a lot of us who have not yet had the conversation with most mainstream brothers don't know that, and some of us probably do know that. And that's, man, that's hard to swallow. When you drive by their buildings and how beautiful they are, and if you ever gone have you ever gone into any of their lodges? Oh, they straight. I ain't gonna kid you, they straight. Okay, I have never been to a Grand Lodge Estate Masonic Lodge, and their building was somewhere undesirable. Their buildings are nowhere undesirable. Period. That's the truth. But that's how it's that old money. That's how they get down. And they will sell you a building if your money is right. If your money is right, they will sell you a building and kick rocks and keep going. Because all money is green money and it's good money. They ain't turning it down. And if you want to rent from them, they will rent you a lodge. They will. If you want to rent from a mainstream Grand Lodge to hold your meetings, they'll rent it out to you. They will. Money, baby. Money moves everything. Everything around them. Money moves it. So if you think that just because you are of another jurisdiction and you want to have a nice place to hold your lodge meeting, go find a state Grand Lodge or go find a mainstream Grand Lodge and ask them about renting their lodge room one night for your meetings. I guarantee they'll give it to you. They'll rent it out to you. They ain't playing. If I'm lying, somebody need to call me up and say that's not true. The number is 619-286-0642. I'm just trying to let you know that there's a distinct difference in how mainstream do business here in the United States as far as Masonic lodges and business is taken care of. It is. And like I said, it's not that they don't have their issues. They do. It's just a little bit bigger than what we deal with, But it's a beautiful thing. They have beautiful buildings. They do a lot of stuff for their community, for their people. I know here in San Diego, out at the Scottish Rite Temple, they have a therapeutic center for speech therapists. They have a nice Masonic library out there. It's nice. I mean, also the DMV department works out there. It's that place. It's that it factor. It is. And you can see it as you drive down 805 freeway on your right or left hand side. You see that big old compass and square, and it says the Freemasons, and it says the Scottish Rite Center. Hello.
Hey, Brother Hawkins. This is Brother Montgomery.
Hey, Brother Montgomery. Talk to me. Help me out.
All right. Everybody who's listening on the episode tonight, I'm from Cardinal Lodge 1406 under the Grand Lodge of Texas, which you'll call Main Street. Like the brother said on the web post, you call them beneficiary or endowments.
There you go.
Every Blue Lodge has a certain amount. The Worshipful Master and the committee, Brother Master Masons, can vote on it. And an endowment is pretty much, you pretty much are a lifelong member. You don't have to pay dues no more. You drop that you drop the large sum of money, which is anywhere between $500, $700, or $1,000. You no longer have to pay dues while you're still breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Once you also become an endowment member, Grand Lodge receives some of money. Blue Lodge receives some money, no matter how long you died. So even if you get out of Freemasonry, they can still receive a piece of it.
Yep. And see, that's the beauty. That's a beautiful thing. And I would say that even on this side of Freemasonry, that some lodges that I know of has that, but nowhere is it near a $500 or $1,000 piece of the cookie. It's not, because we look at it and say, well, what you gonna do with my money? It is, whereas I would say this, that mainstream Grand Lodges actually invest their monies in stocks and bonds. And if I'm wrong, let me know.
No, I'm not going to tell you how much my Blue Lodge has invested, but we have a large sum. Let's just say that.
Okay. Hey, you ain't got to tell me. I'm talking. if I was, I think if I was off track or wrong, you being there, you would tell me.
Yeah, yeah, no, but no, we invested our money pretty well. I can tell you that, and also, and it's not even a large percentage that it gets. We just give a large amount, but I believe, if I remember correctly, because the last city meeting I went to, we talked about it, but my work for master told me like anywhere between $20 to $30. It depends on your jurisdiction. And after you pass away, they will always keep receiving that.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing that I believe that when you're talking money wise, hurts a lot of the various Grand Lodges of state. And this is one of the things that I found, that even though people frown upon it and they may say this is not how masonry is supposed to be done, I want to say International has something similar to that, but it's on a pyramid thing. You bring somebody in, they give you a cut, and the higher you go, the money gets spread. But that's their thing. I don't kick that. You know why? Because them boys rock and roll. They have money. You know, they have that money. And more power to them. That's their structure. And if a brother likes that structure and he can get down with it, let him have it. That's just not the structure for me, for where I'm at right now. But I don't kick the structure. You know, I don't. And I try to explain to people all the time, brother Terrell, that masonry, when you look at it compared to the state Grand Lodges, as I've said before, them boys, they move. When they move, things happen. I mean, am I right or wrong?
Oh no, like I said, I've had a grandmaster who, when the edicts come down, you know it comes down here in the state of Texas.
Right.
You will know. That power is felt long and wide.
Okay, so I think this brother said, Brother Phil Jackson said, the Grand Lodge of Mississippi don't have a building, just an office space, and rent out a whole banquet room for their annual. Okay, I would tell you this, being from Mississippi, I know that in Canton, Mississippi, they have like 3 or 4 buildings for their lodge members, and they're nice buildings, pretty nice little size. But that's in Canton, Mississippi. Now, as far as the Grand Lodge of Mississippi is concerned, I don't know. I don't know. You saying they have a little small rent space? I doubt that. But because I do know that Ham Grand Lodge of Mississippi, they call it the Mississippi Auditorium, the Masonic Auditorium in Mississippi. I think that's owned by. I got to go back and look. It's been a minute. So if you can correct me, Brother Jackson, who owns the Masonic Auditorium in Mississippi, there in Jackson? All right, let me know. Hit me back with that.
Hold on, and also too, I believe the Grand Lodge of Mississippi, the headquarters, the Grand Chapter, the Grand Lodge is in Meridian, Mississippi. Last time I checked, that could have moved.
No.
Okay.
If it's in Meridian, Mississippi, because Jackson is its capital.
Yeah.
But if it's in Meridian, Mississippi, I'm quite sure they got a nice building.
Yeah.
The Grand Lodges don't have small buildings, gentlemen.
No, we do not.
Grand Lodges of state do not have small buildings, because I can, right here in California, when they have their stated meeting, and I'm not talking grand session, I'm just saying stated meeting, they can hold any of their stated meetings in any of the cities in California, like Los Angeles. If they wanted a stated meeting in Los Angeles, they got a huge building in Los Angeles. The Grand Lodge is in San Francisco. Okay, that building is huge too. All right, I've been to it. Then they have the one that's in Oakland. That's huge. So any of these buildings that the Grand Lodge of State have, when they want to have a stated business meeting, they can pick from any place to have them, and they will be accommodating to their membership. That's just a fact. They really don't have to rent out anything. The only time you will probably find them renting out something is when they get ready to have a large banquet. No, not even that. They need the hotel for the members to stay, but they're going to hold their grand session at their own building because they just have the space for it.
Yep.
You know?
And also too, another point you made about the election of the grandmasters. I don't know. Me and you I told you about it, how it works. But here in the Grand Lodge of Texas, the worshipful masters and only past masters are the ones who vote.
See?
On the Grand Master. Even if you're REA, a Bellcraft, or a current Master Mason, you're allowed to chant. Of course, it's most likely will be opened up in the Master Mason, but only past masters and current worshipful masters are allowed to vote on their Grand Lodge session.
See, and this is why we need to have this conversation, because I guarantee you most brothers believe that it's all the same, and it's not all the same. It is totally different. Even now, when I get into the European style of Freemasonry, that's going to be like a ooh-wee moment, because I'll wait till I get there. But here in the States, we're talking about mainstream Freemasonry. They just rule everything around you. They move everything around you. Ask me how I know, and I tell you so, brother. I've had my conversations in the presence of brothers who have literally told me, when I want something done and I need it done, here are the people I go to, because they hold certain positions within the system. I'm gonna leave it right there. If you don't, Brother Montgomery, talk to me. Because I don't want nobody thinking I'm just blowing smoke.
No, I'm in El Paso, Texas. I am a soldier, and I can say there are some people with some powerful rank in Freemasonry who are also in the military, who I work under and work with.
Yeah.
Let's just say that for the most part.
And they get it done. They move it.
Yeah.
You know?
So,
they move it.
It gets signed. We need some on the military side from the city. It does get signed.
I'm just saying. So if you didn't know, now you know. So if you didn't think that mainstream Grand Lodges rule and move everything around you, they do. That's just the fact of the matter. So we're going to move on to the next subject, and you can stay online if you want to, but if anybody else want to call in, please post and let me know. But right now I have Brother Terrell from the Grand Lodge of Texas on tonight. He's going to be, we talk all the time, so, hey, it is what it is between he and I, Christopher, that's a good question. What's a good question? International Free Exchange Masons use a pyramid scheme style, but that's them. It is. That's how they get down, And you know what? It works for them. Because I know for a fact, them boys, they own some property. And I'm not saying that other black Grand Lodges don't own property, but from what I know about them, yeah, they run deep. They don't run as deep on the West Coast as they do on the East Coast, but they do. It is what it is. We're going to keep it rolling right on into our next topic right quick. Any Master Mason that is financial can vote, but have to be a past master or wishful master to hold a Grand Lodge seat. Okay, is that on mainstream side, or is that PHA side, that Brother Phil Jackson? What jurisdiction are you referring to when you make that statement?
Yeah, just ask him to clarify, because I know for the Grand Lodge, I do know firsthand my worshipful master just went to Grand Session, and we talked about it, that only the past masters and the worshipful masters can hold a vote. And of course, if you're a warden, you go with you have a vote. So say for instance, my worshipful master, he went to Grand Session by himself. The wardens didn't go. He's a representation of 3. He has 3 votes.
Damn. He had 3 votes?
He has 3 votes. Because the wardens get a vote, and he gets a vote.
Wow. So
and
he has
go, and it's just him. He gets 3 votes.
He gets 3 votes because he represents the lodge.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Past masters vote on their own. They have their own vote. They don't have to vote in favor with the worshipful master. They're their own one vote. Wow.
Okay.
So say for instance, my worshipful master go, one of my past masters go. They pretty much gonna be in agreement and vote. That's pretty much 4 votes for my lodge.
Wow.
Or however many past masters we have, and we have quite a few that still attend regularly and go down to Grand Session. So it might be 6 votes for my lodge. It might be 8 votes.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting, and I guarantee you most African American jurisdictions don't run that way. And if you are a PHA Mason, you want to tune in tonight and give some commentary, you're certainly welcome to do so. But we're just talking about the differences and not the business of, but the differences in how mainstream Freemasonry moves everything around us. They do. And if you know some, they would even bring you to the fold. And when I say bring you into the fold, I'm just clearly saying that no, you won't be able to visit their lodge if you don't have recognition. But the friendship that you may build with them will carry a long way. It will.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that's
no doubt. Like I tell you this all the time, Brother Hawkins. If we have a book of who we all recognize and have amenity with.
Mm-hmm.
And everything like that. And my worshipful master says, if you're not in the book, of course you won't be able to attend the stated meeting and everything like that. But, on the outside of the premises, things like that, he's not going to hold, if he doesn't know your Grand Lodge, and I'm in the predominant white lodge, they don't know everything about PHA.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, they don't really know too much. So,
Mm-hmm.
If you prove yourself, do a Q&A, the handshake, everything's pretty much the same, and they feel you're worthy and well qualified, hey, y'all could be able to talk somewhat of masonry.
Right. You're not going to necessarily talk the business of your lodge, but since you've already identified yourself as a Mason, just as they have, so you begin to build that fellowship.
Yeah. So pretty much so say in an instance, the few states that don't recognize PHA, if it's not in our book, and we understand that, hey, we recognize all the state Grand Lodges in Texas. We just do. And we recognize pretty much all PHAs here in the United States. But those last few states that don't have full amenity with PHA, we don't want to step on, that Grand Lodge state's territory, jurisdiction. But, of course, if they were to come and we're not in a stated meeting, we're not in a meeting, we'll talk, make sure and things like that. But we just refer to the book.
Right.
That's our safest bet.
But see, this is the thing that most of my Prince Hall brothers like to throw out. We're recognized. You are. But every Grand Lodge state doesn't necessarily recognize you. If your Grand Lodge is not necessarily recognized by your counterpart, the other counterparts probably don't recognize your Grand Lodge. That's just...
Some do. I know New Mexico recognizes, did a full compact, they recognize all PHA.
Okay. But I'm just saying, in general.
Yeah.
That
was the biggest rule of thumb for the longest.
Yeah, not as a whole, but in general. And that's what we have to understand. This thing we call recognition and how Grand Lodges are structured. Every Grand Lodge has a little differences in their structure. And I could tell you this here. I'll say that for last as far as my jurisdiction is concerned. I talked with my Grand Master tonight, just so you know, Brother Terrell, and I said, this is my topic for tonight. A disclosure is that this is not the opinion of my Grand Lodge, but it's from the research that I've done. He's like, okay, all right, from the research you've done, right? I was like, yeah, Grandmaster, this is from the research I've done. This is the topic for the night. All right, okay, that's fine. So I just wanted to clear the air so nobody would be saying when you're speaking for your Grand Lodge. I'm just speaking on
the same way with me, hey, if you have any opinion, I'm just giving you a public information. I would never discuss nothing online that shouldn't be discussed.
Absolutely. Definitely public information. So we're going to move on and we're going to go right into the next one. We're going to talk about European style Freemasonry. Now, European, I'm talking about, European, I'm talking about the Great Britons, I'm talking about the Scotland, I'm talking about them guys. Now, their lodges are usually off the ground. When you go to their lodges are usually off the ground. There's the second floor. Their lodges are usually meeting on the second floor in their buildings. 80% of them. And I was wondering why is it built? Why is it like that? So here's what I found out. It says Europeans have a prescribed form or ritual of buildings according to whose direction it is absolutely necessary that every hall for Masonic purposes shall be erected. And then it says no such regulations exist amongst fraternities in other countries such as Great Britain. Still, the usage of the craft and the object of the convenience in the administration of the rites require that certain general rules shall be followed in the constructions of a lodge. These rules relates to its position, its form, and its decoration. A lodge room should always be, if possible, be situated due east, due west. The position is not absolutely necessary. Check it out. They're saying that due east and west is not absolutely necessary. But here in the States, we're saying a lodge should be situated how? Due east and due west.
West.
Period. That's how we do it. I don't care if you're mainstream, international, modern, free. I don't care what your jurisdiction is. But here in the United States, we follow a different rule than the way most Grand Lodges overseas are set up. It's not necessarily set up due east and west there. And I'm reading this out of a book. So it's called the Lexicon of Freemasonry, and it tells you how their lodges are set up. So let's go a little bit further. It says this position is not necessarily absolute. In the vast, it is so far as the demand that some sacrifices shall be made, if possible, to obtain a desirable position. So it's just based on how they want to set it up. It's based totally how they want to set it up. So it's not only due east and due west foundation. It should be also isolated. Their lodges are also isolated. It's not necessarily around in the public view. Okay? Where it is practical for all surrounding buildings and should always be placed in the upper stories. Their buildings for the lodge setting is going to be on the second floor. You come in and you're going to have to take the elevator to the second floor. And I'm reading this and I'm like, wow, that's one of them wow moments when you begin to understand that, hey, it's different. We'll talk about European style Freemasonry and how their lodges are structured and how they're set up. You know? Brother Phil Jackson, don't forget to hit me back.
Hey, Brother Hawkins, I'm going to get off the line so in case somebody else is trying to get on.
Oh, well, I certainly appreciate it.
If you have any more questions about mainstream, I'm glad to call back in or just put it on the chat tonight.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you for calling in. So we're talking about European style Freemasonry and how they're structured and how they're set up. And it's like I said, it's different from how we do it here in the United States, be it mainstream or any other jurisdiction. So it says it should be also isolated where it is practical from all surrounding buildings. It should always be placed in the upper story. No lodge should ever be held on the ground floor. You do not hold a lodge meeting on the ground floor of buildings when you're talking European style Freemasonry. They don't do it that way. All right. The form of a lodge should be that of a oblong square. We all can agree with that. All right. At least one third of the lodge from the east to the west. Then it says, then it is from the north to the south. The ceiling should be lofty, so the ceiling should be high. It gives dignity to the appearance of a hall, as well as the purpose of health, by the consumption in some degrees, for the inconvenience of a closed windows, which is necessarily when decorated, and the quality of the air is very short in time in a low room. So they're saying that the Masonic Hall itself should be lofty. It shouldn't be short, you know. It should be breathable, you know, spacious. That's how they get down over there. And that's interesting. And then it goes on to say the approach to the lodge room from without should be at an angle. Okay? A straight entrance is unmasonic. A straight entrance is unmasonic. Okay? And it cannot be tolerated. There should be two entrances into the lodge, which should be situated in the west and one on the side of the senior ward in the station. The one on his right hand is for the introduction of visitors and members and leading from the Tyler room. It is called the Tyler or the outer door. The other is on the left, leading to the preparation room, which is known as the inner door, and sometimes called the northwest door. The situation of these two doors, as well as the room with which they are connected and which are essentially necessary in the well-constructed lodge room, may be seen from the diagram on the following page of this book, which exhibits the seating of the officers and the arrangement of the altar and the light. And some lodges over there don't even have an altar. Oh yeah, some lodges over in Europe do not have an altar. They don't have the altar. You can say whatever you want to say, they just don't have the altar. And I found that to be interesting, because here in the United States, we prescribe to every lodge having an altar. They don't. Every lodge over there do not have an altar. Now, if I'm wrong, somebody need to call me up and say I'm wrong. But from what I'm reading right here, it's not even happening. It's not happening. All right? Now, that's overseas. That's dealing with the European Freemasonry, how they are set up and their structure. Okay, it says the whole of the east end of the lodge should be elevated from the floor to the platform, running across the room. Okay? And ascend by 3 steps. Now, I've seen that here in the States where it is elevated by the 3 steps. I've seen that. Then it says the windows should be either in the roof of the building or at least very high. So all of the windows are very high up. This is why they meet on the upper floors in the Masonic Hall. They don't, I know they're a leader and have the Moorish Rite caste come under the Blue Masons. They shall at least of the degree outline. Oh, this is a whole nother topic. Is the video slow? I don't know if the video is slow or not. Are you, Brandon Lewis? I'm just beginning to read some of the things that have been put up, bruh. So I'm kind of behind some things tonight. Just an office building in Meridian, Mississippi. Installation of officers and their annual session is held at the Hilton in Jackson. Okay, so who has that? The Masonic Auditorium. Which Grand Lodge owns the Masonic Auditorium there in Jackson, Brother Phil? If what you're saying is correct, that they only hold an office space, that seems kind of odd for a Grand Lodge estate being mainstream to only hold an office space. That's, I don't know. All right, so I appreciate that. I certainly do. But back to the European style setting for Freemasonry. It says that the ritual prescribes the lower part of the windows. Okay, and then it says should be 7.5 feet from the surface of the floor. They're giving you the total breakdown on how their lodge is structured versus what I've seen here in the States versus what I've visited outside of the States. I haven't seen anything like that. I just haven't. I mean, I've visited quite a few lodges in my time, but I've never, from what I'm reading, I've never seen anything like this here. And then it says also that this should be even the half feet from the surface of the floor. By this, our mysteries are equated and secured from the proficiency of the praying eye. So they have an eye up. They have an eye overlooking everything. That's deep. The decoration of a lodge should be altogether Masonic. The following decorations on the subject are given in the Havana ritual of the building. A good lodge may be known as by its ornaments. In most lodges, all sorts of decorations are hyped together without the slightest attendance to properties. There should be no pictures situated or emblems of heathen deities, nor any busts or pictures or heathen philosophers. Their proper image or emblem are to be taken from the Bible. Did y'all hear that? Come on now. Should I go back over that again? Let me go back over it. This is European style type of masonry, all right? This is what I'm saying. This is their type of masonry. They said there should be no pictures, statues, emblems of heathen deities, nor any bust or picture or heathen philosophers. The proper images or emblems are to be taken from the Bible, which alone contains the authentic record of the ancient masonries. The decoration should be Masonic emblems, intersected in triangles and triple tars, squares and compass, death heads, and etc. These, if properly managed, can be made highly the ornaments of the lodge. Man, I don't know what you think, but when they said that there should be no heathen statues, emblems, or heathen deities, nor any bust or picture of a heathen philosopher, you know, the proper image emblems are taken from the Bible. So I tell you what, you Google anybody from the Bible, I guarantee you know what their color they're gonna show up. So you talk back to me. You Google any person from the Bible, guarantee you know what color they're gonna show up. So if you got a bust of anybody besides that look like that, they don't want it there. They don't want it there. If the bust is not, if it doesn't look like them, it doesn't go there. So you can say whatever you want to say when people talk about racism and masonry and all that. It's just what it is. And I see you got another conversation going on, Illuminated Light. The Moorish Rite was created by a Scottish Rite Mason. It wasn't chartered by a Scottish Rite Supreme Council, nor no order or Grand Lodge has the charter by another body. They are all self-created. You, boom, you knocked them out the box with that one. That is so true. So that is the European style type of masonry. It's their style, you know, and you can't knock it. You can say whatever you want to say. It's theirs. All right? It's theirs. Oh, so we're going to move on to the last and final one. That Negro masonry. Yeah, you know, come on. Let's just be honest with each other tonight. So when I say Negro masonry, it is not to disrespect any jurisdiction, including my own. But when I say that, I look at it from various viewpoints when I'm dealing with us. Okay. So when I'm dealing with us, I look at it from the standpoint of Negro masonry. You know, and I say that because in the earlier days of the foundation of Black masonry, it was called Negro masonry. Not nigga, but Negro, you know? And this is where we're at today. We're still doing the same thing that we did 200 years ago. We're still doing the same thing. We haven't even progressed as far as in Black masonry, as far as we should have. And this, I'm gonna talk about some positive stuff too. But right now, I'm on this because I look at and I read about and I study other jurisdictions, white jurisdictions. You know, how did they get to be where they're at? I look and I study them. Okay, and I bring the information back to my lodge. And we sit and we talk about how can we implement some of those same things, the same thing for growth. How can we do it? Because if they're growing, I want to know how they're growing. If they have money in their coffin, I want to know how they get the money in their coffin. So I study that and I bring that information back. As a matter of fact, not only do I study it, my Grand Master, we studied that. Okay? If you want to be better than the next person, you study them. If you want to know how people become wealthy, you study the wealthy people. So we study Masonic Grand Lodges that are wealthy, well off, and doing good works. We study them. It is not that we want to be like them in the sense of you know, imitating them. But if something is good, if something is just, if something is righteous, oh yeah, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna use it. I am. That's just what you should do. You know, If I know of something that's going to help me be successful, I'm going to work with that. I'm going to use it to be successful. And it's not to take from or try to make anybody else look bad, but it works. And if it works for them, why won't it work for me if I apply it correctly? Study. So we do that. We study other jurisdictions to see, hey, this works for them. How can we make that work for us? Yeah, we may have to taper it down. We may have to make some changes to it, but we use it. We use it. And I will tell you this here. Our constitution for this jurisdiction is a pretty nice size constitution. You know, our constitution, our bylaws is 75 pages. That's our bylaws. Our constitution is 190 pages. That's not bad. And I mean, I'm looking at other jurisdictions' constitution and bylaws, and like I said, it's like this, okay? But when I look at my own, this is ours right here. All right? This is my notebook for our constitution and bylaws. It breaks everything down about the operation of our jurisdiction. Everything. And it should do. And that's what your constitution should. It should break everything down about how you're structured. Okay? Now, this is the notebook version because we add and we take away. But however, I should have got it while I was up. Excuse me. Give me just a second. I thought sure I had it in here with me. Wait a minute. Got it. This is, I'm going to tell you how many pages exactly what we're looking at. This is one. This is one right here. All right. Okay. And this one right here is 200 pages. And then there's the other one. And this one is 75 pages. All right. So it's 275. And we have separate books for them. This is ours right here for this jurisdiction right here. So I'm very proud of what we have. I'm very proud of what we have done in this jurisdiction and where we're going. Now, as far as the Grand Lodge of Prince Hall, Modern Free International, PHO, the problem is that we don't see each other as friends or as associates or as anything. When we approach each other, we see each other as enemies. Holler back at me now. Somebody can call into the show and let me know if I'm wrong or right. You know, and that is the difference in mainstream Grand Lodge. That's the difference in European masonry. When they see each other, it's like, oh, hey, let's make some things happen. That's the difference. In Negro masonry or in Black Freemasonry, it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way, and that really hurts the organization as a whole, as far as masonry. Period. When you're dealing with Black Masons, you know, and that hurts. I mean, it bothers me sometimes. But you know, here's the good thing. Here's the good thing. Come here. Get in here. Here's the good thing. Yeah, here's the good thing. I ain't mean to be getting up, but damn, you know. But here's the good thing. There are brothers, be it whatever jurisdiction, who looks beyond the stupidity of others and say, hey, look, first and foremost, this is who we are, and we should build together, period, regardless. And that's the great thing. Okay, we should do these things to better our community, because when I see what mainstream Freemasonry do for their community, I just shake my head. And not that it's disappointing, but I look at us and I'm like, well, damn, why can't we do the same thing? And we could if we chose to, but we don't choose to do that. But for those who choose to work together, whatever benefit, whatever you're doing in your community, you continue to do that. For those of us of the Negro Masonry, be it international, Prince Hall, PHO, PHA, whatever, if you can work together, you do that. It's only going to build your jurisdiction. It's only going to build who you are up. That's what it's going to do. Other than that, when we see each other, there's no love. There is no love in Black Masonry when we come across each other, unless you know that individual. If you don't know that individual and he tells you he's from another jurisdiction, I guarantee you there's some friction already. I guarantee that. And if anybody see it differently, you need to call in and tell me, hey, that's not true. I'm talking about not just with individuals, I'm talking about on a broader scale. Okay? I'm talking about on a broader scale. Grand Lodge of England is the point. The point of what? Why would we need to be given a charter? Hey, y'all on a whole, I recognize Morris Wright Masonry personally, but most Masons won't, because their first 3 degrees are not the blue degree. The Morris Wright will have to fix that in order to be considered a real Masons. Who we caution for? I don't know who we caution for. So if the southern states say PHA and PHO is irregular, then how does one say Morris Wright is irregular? It's easy. The reason they say it's irregular because they're not practicing according to that jurisdiction. If I say that, hey, this is how we practice, and you say, well, we don't practice that, I can say that you're irregular. I can say that you're bogus, you're clandestine, because you don't do it the way I do it. It makes you irregular. That's how they do it. That's how it's done. He said it's done easy by moving their mouth and tongue. Boy, y'all crazy. Oh, man, I'm way behind tonight. All right. So I think Brother Jackson, he said Black people feud on the job, churches, masonry is no exception. Hey, it is. I mean, that's just what it is. We do it on I'm not just individual. I'm not looking at this from an individual point of view. I'm saying on a broader scale. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 8, no, on a scale of 1 to 10, on an 8, we feud. We do, and it's not the thing to do. It is not the thing to do. You can't build like that. We talk about Black economics. How can you build Black economics when most of us are feuding with each other because one have and one has not? You know, it's genetic encoding. Yeah, okay. I can agree to that. I certainly can agree with that. Yes, I know a little bit about the Morris Wrights. I've had conversations with them. I don't know a whole lot about them. Have I ever visited any? No, I have not. I can't put my finger on it. I can't claim it. I only know what I've been told by actual members. Okay, I've never sat in the Morris Wrights temple. I have not. I only know a little bit. But With that being said, it's not like we can't talk about it. It's not like we can't do no research and find out about it and actually have somebody online that can actually discuss and talk about it, who's had that experience, who's been part of it. And this is how you find out information. We are all Moorish and not Scottish or York. Okay. When Scottish Rite Mason is not even Scottish, I will agree with you on that. And York Rite Mason is not even York. Because what we practice in the United States is an Americanized type of Freemasonry. We do. And I've said that multiple times. Now, what's going to set you apart is how your jurisdiction do their work. Okay? That's what sets you apart. Everybody don't do the same work. Your openings and your closing may be pretty much the same, thereabouts, but there are some differences. Like, check this out. I won't do that. I was going to talk about the obligation of a particular jurisdiction, but I won't do that. That would be inconsiderate and rude on my part. I won't do it. So look, I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. I hope that you got something from this. And I'm going to say this. Deputy Grand Masters in the beginning were non-existent. There was non-existing at one time. Deputy Grand Masters, as a matter of fact, in some jurisdictions are appointed and selected by the Grand Master. Okay? And I do know that over in Europe, that's how they get down. Okay? Deputy Grand Masters are appointed. They are picked by the Grand Master. Here in the United States, for the most part, Deputy Grand Masters are elected. And some Grand Lodges don't even have Deputy Grand Masters. And Deputy Grand Masters were not part of the craft at one time. So, until we meet and see each other once again, I want to say thank you for coming in, hanging out with me for about an hour. I appreciate it. And we're going to get into this Moorish Rite thing. I think that's something that would be a great topic of discussion. I need to do some reading up on Moorish Rites. I need to talk to Illuminating Light about it. Freemason Unlocked, I definitely need to holler at you. You said it's too late. Oh, man. You said it's too late. I'm already talking about the Moorish Rites. Yeah, but, bro, I want to be able to hold my own when I talk about it and not just be like, you know, I like to have a better understanding about it. I tell you what, if there's a brother online tonight who's been a part of the Moorish Rite and you want to call in and explain that, the Moorish Rites and how it came to be and where it's at and all that, you're welcome to call in. 619-286-0642 is the call-in show, and we can get down. We can talk about the Moorish Rite. It wasn't part of the show, but however, I can spare a few minutes and we can talk about it for a few minutes. And like I said, that would be another show. I think it would be great to call in. So 619-286-0642 if you want to talk about the Moorish Rite and how it came to be, where it's at now. Why do some consider them not Masons? The whole thing, because I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm willing to listen and learn and do my own little research on it. Okay. Brother Parker, is that, I don't know if you're a brother or not, but let me see what you got to say. The first degree in the ancient free and accepted Masons. Okay. I have my popcorn in the microwave now. Well, somebody need to call in. You know, if you are familiar with the Moorish Rite and want to open that up and talk about it for a little while, I'm willing to listen and learn. And that's going to cause me to go do some research and bring that information back to you. So the line is open, 619-286-0642. Also, the Most Wishful John G. Jones Grand Lodge, State of California, will be holding its annual Grand Session in San Bernardino, California. I don't have the address before me, so all I know is the dates. The dates are going to be June the 13th to June 16th, 2018. I'm going to have to definitely put that on my agenda next time to make sure I have the address for brothers who would like to show up. Hello.
What's up, brother Tony? It's Freemasonry Unlocked.
Okay, Freemason Unlocked. You on live now, baby. I'm gonna lean back and I'm gonna listen, and you can talk about the Morris Rite because I don't know a whole lot about it.
All right, yeah, the Morris Rite, which I know the majority of the leaders, the guys who run the Morris Rite. Morris Rite was started by a brother named Clifford Bay. I forget his whole name, but he was a Scottish Rite Mason, and he basically started this rite up that's called the Morris Rite.
Uh-huh.
Now, the problem with the Morris Rite, even though I consider it Masonry, but the problem with it, like I was telling a brother online, is that the foundation of it is not the Entered Apprentice degree, the Fellowcraft degree, and the Master Mason degree.
So what's their foundation?
They use a form of symbolic navigation. Now, when I've talked to the leaders, which I respect them, like we have good rapport.
Uh-huh.
When you okay, let's say you say you're a Masonic Rite, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you say, okay, we have the secrets of Freemasonry as far as the ancient mystery schools.
Uh-huh.
And then I ask you about the connection between Hiram Abiff and Horus, the god Horus, ancient Egyptian mysteries.
Uh-huh.
You're not proficient in the ancient Egyptian mystery teachings.
Okay.
It's like, why are you forming an organization when you don't even really possess knowledge of ancient Kemetic science?
Oh, okay.
Meaning ancient Egyptian mysteries.
Okay.
So that particular rite, like when you take your first degree, like they sell the degrees online. That's what they do.
Really?
Yeah. So like you sign up online, you pay the fees or whatever, and you start getting these degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Like the brother online was saying when I was like, what was the first degree you got when you came into the Morris Rite?
Right.
He was like, oh, the Asiatic degree.
Asiatic? Is that like the Asiatic black man degree or something?
Right.
Okay.
So the problem is that Freemasonry is symbolic Masonry.
Right.
The Morris Rite works upon symbolic navigation.
Okay.
Like their whole symbolic analogy is about, navigating the seas and, that being a symbol of the spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not educated. Like if I try Morris Rite Mason,
okay,
and I'm like, show me the signs, for your degree.
Uh-huh.
Or give me the token.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about King Solomon's temple, what that symbolizes. Tell me about the legend of Hiram Abiff.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So when these guys say that Freemasonry is like watered down, Freemasonry as we know it throughout the world. The Apprentice, Fellowcraft, and Master Mason.
Mm-hmm.
All of the ancient Egyptian mysteries are in the blue degrees.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to have the eyes to see it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't see it, it means you're not receiving proper instruction in your lodge.
Okay.
Because just by studying, like I mentioned to him, you're taught in the first degree that the foundation of Masonry is in the northeast corner. You heard?
Okay.
And the northeast corner is Egypt.
Okay.
Which is the ancient world.
All right.
Just look at a map. In the northeast corner, you see Egypt, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the foundation of Masonry. You study the legend of Hiram Abiff. The legend of Hiram Abiff is a biblical version of, even though the whole story is not in the Bible, but it's a Christianized, so to speak, version or a Judaic version of the legend of Osiris.
Right. But many won't even say that. Many would not even admit to that. But go ahead.
Right, but the Masons who do know this. Like, this is not a secret. Like, you could study any of the old Caucasian American Masons, read their books.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that is unknown to the craft. So if you look at the legend of Hiram Abiff and you really know your African roots, you know that the legend of Osiris was the main allegory for teaching spiritual realization for our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know that legend, you know that Osiris, there was a conspiracy against Osiris to murder him.
Right.
The same thing you see with the legend of Hiram Abiff.
Mm-hmm.
There was a conspiracy to murder him for the secrets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Hiram Abiff is called the widow's son. The widow's son is the god Horus.
Mm-hmm.
He's the son of the widow Isis.
Mm-hmm.
When his father Osiris was murdered by Set, Isis became the widow.
Right.
And Horus was born through the Immaculate Conception.
Yes.
Which made him the widow's son.
Okay.
And our ancient African ancestors who were initiated into the ancient rites,
mm-hmm.
they already knew that the secret teaching was that Horus, the Messiah, represents you,
mm-hmm.
your true self. The same thing we're taught in Masonry in regards to the widow's son, Hiram Abiff.
Right.
Like, you're my brother Mason, so I refer to you as the widow's son, as you refer. This is saying that we possess, the secrets of the ancient Egyptian mysteries.
Okay.
Like brothers were saying on the show you did with the apron, they were going in. Some of the brothers in the comments, they were getting deep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, this is what the ancient Egyptian initiates wore, aprons.
Right.
It's a verifiable fact.
Uh-huh.
The ancient European stonemasons didn't wear aprons to work. You're not going to see evidence of that. You can study any pictures. You can even meet masons today, like dudes who lay brick.
Uh-huh.
I used to lay brick when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
You don't wear an apron to do
no, you
operative
don't.
masonry.
No.
Chefs wear aprons. Yeah, artists wear aprons, but not brick masons or stone masons.
Mm-hmm.
The only stone masons you see in ancient times that were wearing the aprons were the Egyptians. The
mm-hmm.
evidence exists.
Mm-hmm.
And like the brother who called last night, Brother Wiseman L,
mm-hmm.
when he was talking about, what was he talking about? Oh, the temple at Luxor, Egypt, which still stands to this day.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the main Egyptian temple of ancient times, and it still stands.
Wasn't that temple robbed and burned?
Who? The brother was saying that?
No, I'm asking.
What's that?
Was
the
that
temple I'm talking about?
Yes.
No, it was the temple of the god Amun.
Okay.
Amun-Ra.
Okay.
It was built by Amenhotep III. He's the one who built that temple.
Okay.
So he built it about 1800 BC. But that became the central temple for those who wanted to go travel to be initiated into the mysteries of the widow's son.
Mm-hmm.
The god Horus. What we see in the Book of the Dead, if we read the Book of the Dead today.
But see, everybody, when you say the Book of the Dead, bro, you done scared half the people.
No, but I know that a lot of brothers who are online are in tune. And now, maybe all may not be, but a lot are. So, that temple still stands to this day. If you Google pictures of it, it still stands.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, in front of that temple, first of all, the temple is a rectangular oblong square.
Yeah.
Secondly, there are two pillars in the front of that temple. One pillar is missing now. The foundation is still there. But there were two pillars in the front, two obelisks. And if you study Solomon's temple, in the Bible, you see that Solomon's temple was pretty much a replica of that temple.
Right.
Now, Solomon's temple, you won't find it. As far as literally.
No, you won't find it literally. You will not find that temple literally.
But everything that our ancient ancestors built, it stands, bro. The Great Pyramid, the Sphinx. So the point that I'm making is that the brother was talking about that last night, Brother Wiseman L.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the Grand Lodge of England, he made a good point. Who gave charters to those four lodges? The Apple Tree Tavern Lodge, the Goose and Gridiron Lodge,
well,
Rum and Grapes Lodge.
Well, if you know the
history,
history,
charter,
if you
nobody knows.
Yeah. But see, if you know the history, you already know that it was set up to be monopolized. It was set up that way.
Right. But I'm saying this because the brother made a good point last night.
Yes.
He was like, let's be serious. Go back to those four English lodges that started the Grand Lodge of England.
Right.
Who gave them their charter?
Right.
Ask them. They can't tell you.
No.
Because they were self-appointed, bro.
Self-appointed, self-created. And we don't even know if they was all Masons or not. Because there's no mention of what lodge or lodges,
Exactly.
you know, they just said these 4 lodges came together, or these 3 lodges,
Right.
or whatever the number was.
Right.
You know, and you
Yeah.
have to realize it's their history, it's their story.
Right.
You know, that's
So-
not my history, that's not my story.
Right.
And when we begin, and when we're able to really break that thing down, you'll understand why some people feel the way they feel about England or about other Grand Lodges who claim to be the police or whatever. You know, you will
Right.
understand when things are self-created, that's what they are, self-created. You know,
Right.
oh, well, you didn't do it right. Well, what rules? Under whose authority? I'm just saying.
Right. So the brother made a good point, but as far as like for the Moorish, right? Not to swerve, but
Mm-hmm.
I know brothers who practice the right, and some of them have left the Moorish right to come into my Blue Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what I'm talking about. I've been with these brothers. Now for me, it's cool. The only problem, like I tell those brothers, is that, listen, bro, if you're trying to gain some type of recognition, like you're sending guys out there blind,
Uh-huh.
you're saying you're a Mason, and then a brother tests you, and you don't know the standard modes of recognition for the blue degrees, they're going to be looking at you crazy, especially when your degree system is not founded upon symbolic masonry,
Right.
meaning using the tools and customs of ancient stone masonry to express spiritual truths, symbolic truths, moral truths, etc. You know what I mean? So, you know, but other than that, they're pretty cool. And like I said, a lot of the stuff where they're like, yo, and I'm not dissing them. I'm just saying that I know from experience.
Right.
When you set yourself up to profess, like, yeah, I'm really teaching some type of ancient secrets of our ancestors, and you're not really teaching that.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, to me, you're kind of ripping people off for their money, and you're selling them a dream, basically.
Hey, I'm reading some of the comments, brother, saying they're about to go online and become a Morris Wright. Don't do yourself no justice like that. Don't do yourself justice. Don't do it. Don't do it. You know.
Right. And so, but they're cool. You know, they have some cool symbolism and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
You know, and even with that, like with masonry, one of the true landmarks of masonry is that the lodge is supposed to be a place in which men of all political opinions and you know, spiritual opinions could come together under the same banner,
Right.
which is that we all recognize some type of higher power that we're searching for.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't matter if we call ourselves a Muslim, a Jew, a Christian, NOI. So when you see these guys, like yesterday, you talked about Calvins and eavesdroppers. When you have these individuals who try to come into masonry with a religious agenda because the West Gate is not guarded, and they come into the lodge trying to promote a religion,
Yeah.
which has no place in masonry.
I had a preacher. I had a preacher to do that.
It has no place in masonry.
You know, he was pretty upset that, you know, the brothers would they would rather go to the lodge meeting than come to his church. But go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, so that becomes a thing. So you have those guys like, yeah, you know, masonry teaches Islam, and listen, bro, no, it doesn't. Those are just side degrees, man, like the shrine degree. Masons were enlightened thinkers. They were free thinkers. You know, the Masons of the 1700s, 1600s, even 1800s. Free thinkers. Those who questioned the religious dogma of the time. And this is why so many people were against Masonry, just like the Catholic Church has been.
Yes.
Just like a lot of the Islamic states are against Masonry. Because Masonry
Oh,
is
speaking of Islamic states. So just for brothers and sisters information, this is something that just happened recently. I don't know if anybody has heard. A few days ago, earlier this week, there was a gentleman of the Islamic faith, supposedly, had stacked up a lot of weapons. And he went to the Masonic Hall on the East Coast. Dang it, I can't think of what Masonic Hall he went to. But what he was going in there to kill up some Masons.
Yeah, bro, it gets...
Yeah, he didn't care, brother. This dude was locked and loaded, and somebody found it out and called it in, and they caught him before he did it.
Yeah, look, this is why I said that the religious fanatics have no place in Masonry. It's the same thing when you take, like, the Nation of Islam is a great nation. But you have those who are in the dark that don't know that. The NOI is heavily based on Masonic teachings. So when individuals misunderstand those lessons, like in the Lost Found Muslim lessons, when they talk about, you know, why does Muhammad make the devil study 35 to 50 years before he could wear the universal flag but must wear the sword on the upper part? Of course, that refers to
the Shriners.
Absolutely, the ancient Arabic order of nobles of the mystic shrine.
Right.
So those who don't get into the esoteric side, they'll look at that like, oh man, that's talking about the Masons, they devils.
Right.
And the same thing with the Moorish Science Temple. You have those that don't know, and it's a proven fact. But when you have the blinds of religion over your eyes, you're gonna only see what you want to see. So when you show these individuals, like, listen, Noble True Ali was a Freemason, bro. This is why he had the name, the title Noble. Everybody in your shrine temple has the title Noble.
That's right.
Everybody in your shrine temple greets each other with Assalamu Alaikum. It doesn't mean that they're Muslims. It means that they're digging into the esoteric aspects of the Islamic tradition.
Right, right.
Which complements the esoteric Judaic and esoteric Christian teachings that you see in the Blue Lodge. That's all it means.
Okay, okay. Well, you know what?
Do that, bro.
Yeah, you just enlightened me and a whole lot of other brothers that's online tonight in regards to it, and I certainly appreciate it. And as always, I hope that brothers and sisters who are online tonight got something out of this. Sister Jones, thank you for tuning in. You know, if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn you posted something, but definitely, I want to say to everyone that's been on here, thank you. I appreciate it, and please don't just go burn your money like that. NOI, please don't go there. Don't speak on my people. Yeah, we're gonna leave it right there tonight, Brother King. We're gonna just leave it right there tonight. But definitely, female Masons is something made up. I'm not going to even touch that subject. I've already done a video on a thing on female Masons, and they're not made up. But anyway, we're going to let that be where it's at. So, brother Freemason Unlocked, I think the next time we come on, we should do something on Rose Christians.
Yeah, why not, man? It's a good subject.
Yeah, Rose Christians. I'm quite sure that they're part of the Freemasons.
Yeah, and that 18th degree of the Scottish Rite, man.
Yeah, but brother,
everything is tied in.
But brothers, a lot of brothers don't know about that Magi.
Right.
They don't know about them ancient Egypts, them Chaldeans. They don't know that it came from Germany. There's just a little bit that I do know. You know? So look, I appreciate you coming on, bro. We're gonna go ahead and sign off tonight. And I hope that everybody has gotten some out of it. The original Arabs are so-called black people. All right, we're going to leave it right there tonight. Always keep your light on and stay out the bushes. Good night, everybody.